Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host for this evening podcast, and here we are to fight CPS and hang on to our children. I want to give a warm welcome because a lot of you right now are experiencing a very bad agency. And I know how you feel because I've been there myself. I too have been in CPS. I've been fighting for 15 years. So I know where you're coming from. This podcast is a podcast to help you all understand and try to get your children back or hang on to them and not make the same mistakes that I made fighting CPS. Now, you just heard from my attorney, Vincent W. Davis, who made this podcast possible, and I want to thank him for it. He is a he is a family juvenile dependency attorney of 35 years, as he said in his video. He's also a trial attorney. He knows how to fight CPS. In fact, he has sued CPS for civil cases in both the state and federal courts and won millions of dollars back. He's a pit bull. He will fight for you. And this Saturday is very important that you attend his seminar. It's Zoom meeting questions answers, and you'll really hear from him a good strategies and how to navigate your way through CPS and hang on to your children or get your children back. Now, I'm not an attorney. I'm a family man. I'm a father who's been through this, and for the last 15 years, I've been doing this, fighting CPS. Now, I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week. I'm on Monday through Saturday. I come on at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour. And I come on in the evening at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour. Now, there is some exceptions. On Sunday, every Sunday, I attend church and I do my podcast at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning so that I can attend church with my family. Also, on Friday nights, it's Friday Night Lights, the high school football. I want to go to the football game, but I'm not sure what time my afternoon podcast will be. It may be 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 3 o'clock. I'm still working out the details. I'll let you know as soon as possible. Now, one way to get into this podcast, there's 4 ways to interact with this podcast. One, you just came in this room. You found me on Facebook, Fight CPS Bob Pace. And I'm broadcast on YouTube using the StreamYard application. And so just by coming to this room, you can interact with me by showing emojis. That's the thumbs up, the hearts, and the smiley faces. Or you can send me stars. Further, I want you to subscribe, so check the box down below. And if you want to be notified of my shows, check the notification. That way you know when I'm always on and not miss one of my shows. Now, my shows are recorded and libraried, so you can watch any of my shows. And I talk about a lot of things on my shows. I can't talk about everything in 1 hour to tonight, but I have my 5 rules that I wish I had done when I was fighting CPS. I also talk about what the social workers are like and what they can be and how to maneuver in CPS, the pitfalls and so forth. I talk about who the social workers are, the kind of individuals are, their makeup and so forth. I also have over 75 tabs open up of different things I can talk about, like the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978. Or I could talk about the 388 motion or the JV 160 motion. There's a lot of things I can talk about. How to file claims against attorneys, how to file claims against CPS, how to go further up. There's a lot of topics I have that I could share with you. I also do Coors Digest. It's an application I subscribe to, and I have it geared to CPS. So it brings me CPS questions, and people try to answer them. People from all walks of life, including social workers, try to give an answer to the CPS question. So I do that. I also have guests on my show from time to time and regular visitors and so forth. So it's a very informative room. And I know it's a struggle for you to work your case. And I want to thank the people that are in my room right now. I appreciate you here. Now, the second thing you can do with this podcast, you can interact, is by submitting a text message, either a comment or a question. A comment or a question, and it's about CPS, the Child Protection System. That's what I call CPS. It's the branch of social services that's supposed to protect our children from neglect and abuse. Furthermore, they're supposed to provide food, shelter, clothing, education, medical, and a job for you to help out for families in need. And lastly, if they think the children are in imminent danger and they take your children, they're supposed to bring them back in family reunification while you go through your parenting classes and your special programs and so forth to get your children back. Unfortunately, some of the allegations are not true, and a lot of your parents are suffering that, and I have the same problem myself too. It's really bad when a layperson calls in a false accusation, and you have to deal with it. Now, when you send a text comment, please show me your first name, your city or the county you're in, and the state. The city or the county and the state. Also, if you happen to be from outside of the United States, I welcome you. I welcome anybody dealing with CPS. And so far, I've had about 14 countries that have contacted me. CPS is a worldwide problem. And since we are on the World Wide Web and we're internationally broadcasting, people do listen. And I've had people from Bangladesh commented in. I've had New Delhi, India. I've had a country in the Middle East, but it was all in Arabic, and I couldn't make out what the Arabic name of the country was. I have South Africa. I have the continent of Africa, and I have South Africa, the Western province on the West Coast. And then I have up north on the West Coast, I have Liberia. It's a small country on the coast. Then I have Rwanda, which is also a small country in Central East Africa near Lake Victoria. Then I have Mozambique, which is opposite Madagascar on the East Coast. Then we go up to Europe, and I've had England, Scotland, Wales commented in. I've also had Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond, I have, North America. I've had several provinces from Canada that have texted in a comment or two. And then I have also all 50 states have either called or texted in a message, including Washington, D.C. Also, I've had Indian tribes in the United States and Canada, the First Nation people they're called, and the Native Americans, the Indias tribe. I don't know if any of you knew how the name Indian came into place, but Christopher Cumber thought he found the East. He found the country of India with the East Indies, and that's why he called the native people Indian. That's where they got their name. But they're Native American. Anybody that's born in the United States is a Native American. But the first people, the first immigrants, were the Indians that migrated from North America all the way down to Central America and South America, and then branched out to the Pacific Ocean. That's the migration that they've shown how people migrated. The Europeans were exploring later. The Vikings, then they came the English, the Dutch, the French, the Spanish, the Portuguese. They all from Europe were exploring. Spaniards, Spain, and when they met the Indians, that's where they formed the Incas and the Mayans, and all the different people that we have in all the different parts of North and South America. But further south, I've had from Mexico, and then I've had in South America, Guyana, which is east of Venezuela, north of Brazil on the east coast. And then across the Pacific, I've had the land down under, which is Australia, and I've had the east coast of Australia, which is called the Gold Coast. That's the Sydney area. Then I've had the Melbourne area in the state of Victoria, in the state of Victoria, and South Australia, the state Victoria. Anyway, it's about 14 countries, and I've had 50 states in the Washington, D.C. That's 51. So I think we're well representative. I've talked to over 500 people since October, and all of them have the similar problems you're having. Dealing with a very bad agency that's not very fair, false allegations, hard to come up with money to get an attorney. I know what you're going through. And so I want to help you. And I look for questions, and also I look for guests. If you want to be a guest on my show, I would love to have you. I have a producer. Her name is Grace, and she produces this podcast and helps me make the podcast go smoothly. You can write her with an email. It's grace@vincentwdavis.com. All you do is send an email. I want to be on Bob's podcast on Monday night. I want to be on Bob's podcast on Thursday morning or Saturday night. Anyway, there's 14 shows you can pick from. All you need is to tell her. She, in turn, will send you an email back. She'll give you the link. You can get on. If you happen to get bumped off, that link is still good. I'll get you back on. And you'll be on there. I can have up to 9 of you guests. We can all be side by side, 10 of us talking. And I'd love to have you as my guest. And you'll be able to read comments and help answer and help out other people and so forth. I know as people come into this room, I welcome them. Also, we have each of the groups with special messages. There's 8 groups that participate in this podcast, 8 subgroups. So I'm looking for anybody, that needs help. That's what I am here. That's what I am here. And so to be my guest, all you have to do is email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. She'll tell you what to do as a guest and what not to do, like no eating or smoking. Also, she will help you with your lighting and so forth. Try to use a computer, but a phone's okay. A phone is okay. Now, the last way to be on this podcast, interact at, is to call my number. I have an office number. I just put it up. It's 626-698-0990. And I'd love to have you call me in on my office number to talk about your case, a question, a comment, all about CPS. That is goes to my phone. I use Vonage for the phone application. And I want to make sure that it's set on for right now. I've invited Natalie, who's from West Hollywood, California. She's a single parent with 3 kids. and she's been trying to get back to see her children. She's been fighting for a long time. I'm also inviting Faye, who is a single mother also, who has 2 children, and one child is her special needs son that she's trying to get guardianship for. She lost her daughter through no fault of her own. Then there's Danielle, who is a single parent, and she's trying to get back her son so that she can be a guardian. He's 19 years old, but he got lost in the CPS system and they won't let him out. They're very corrupt, the CPS. I don't know how else to explain it to you. They're so corrupt. Now, I think I've heard from all the comments from all the groups. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow, I didn't know I have 9. 10. I have 10. I probably have more groups than I think I have. Anyway, they all have special messages. Read them and respond to them. Each group is something different. Each group is something different. Like one group is the law office of Vincent W. Davis and Associates. Another group is the reality series, CPS The Horror Stories. Another group is Relatives Fight for CPS. Fight CPS, Stop Taking Our Children. Another group is Fight CPS, Real Talk with Mrs. G, Fight CPS. Then there's my group, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. And also Fight CPS and Stop Taking My Children. Then there's The Secret How to Fight and Win. Then there's Juvenile Dependency Child Protection. Then there's the YouTube one, Fight CPS and Stop Taking Our Children. So anyway, I welcome all of you. And tonight, I don't know if anybody's talking yet. I haven't got a phone call. I haven't got a text message, but I know there's people in my room. So again, I welcome you. Again, I welcome you. Now, this child protection system, I'm going to tell you, it's corrupt. You're in a bad place being involved with them. And first of all, it's very important that you have an attorney representing you. Fighting CPS is like open heart surgery. If you can imagine open heart surgery, how complex, how technical it can be. I don't think too many people would like a plumber or an auto mechanic to fight, to do open heart surgery. You need a professional, a doctor who's gone to medical school, that has a license, did an internship, and has been mentored for many years before you start to cut open your heart. Same thing goes with the Child Protection Agency. They're so corrupt, and there's no way you can navigate. I tell people the Child Protection Agency is like your Alice in Wonderland. You fell in the rabbit hole, and Chester the cat has told you to go from one room to the next room. You don't know where you're at, and you're making all kinds of mistakes. It's a nightmare. It is a nightmare to be in CPS's hands because they don't care. They don't care about families. They don't care about seniors. They don't care about elderly people. They don't care about mothers and fathers. It's sad. It really is sad because CPS is supposed to be an agency that's supposed to help out children be protected neglect, but they've gone overboard. And the problem being is they think every case that comes in is the truth. See, in CPS, you're guilty until you're proven innocent. Any other court of law, you're innocent till you're proven guilty, but not in CPS. The child protection system is corrupt. They're going to think you're guilty, and then they come to your home, and you not knowing you're not supposed to give your children away or let them in your home or talk to them. You talk to them, you let them in your home, and you give up your children. And they may not be in imminent danger. And I did the same thing. I did not know either. I've been fighting CPS, ever since I lost my job in the year 2010. I've been working for 60 years then. Well, I've been working for 60 years. Then it was like probably another 45 years that I lost my job. 45 years and I lost my job. And it's through no fault of my own. There's no reason I should not have lost a job. But I had a $53 million in contract work that was awarded to me by the state of California to do construction work on major roads and highways. But they kept the money because they're going bankrupt, just like the city of Detroit went bankrupt. So they used my money and to support the states who wouldn't go bankrupt. It was terrible. I couldn't even get a credit line to start the jobs because the banks had gone through predatory loans, and the predatory loans were bad. I had one myself. I did not know that. It's where they dock your income and your records so that you look good, so you qualify for loans, because the lenders are interested in getting the bonuses that they get for making a loan. That's all the lenders were interested in, was the bonuses. And a lot of the scenario is they also include a credit line with your first home loan. So I had a first and I had a credit line. The purpose of the credit line, so you don't go belly up right away. It's like a Band-Aid. They're going to give you the credit line and you can pay your property tax or you pay things like that. But you got to start paying that too. And at that time, I had a good credit line. I was at 2% on my credit line, which is unheard of. And my loan, my first was 1.5%. I wish I could get it now, but I had to sell my home on a quick sale because I needed to get money to hire an attorney. It's sad. I worked 40 years for my home and I lost it. My credit was ruined. CPS ruined my credit. And they took all my money, because I had to get an attorney. And my attorney that I got was Vincent W. Davis. I needed somebody that could do something. And I wish I got him early on. I waited a year. I tried to fight CPS with a court-appointed attorney, but she was a hopeless basket case. And then I tried to fight it with myself by fighting with the director and the supervisors and the managers and the senior social workers. I got nowhere. I didn't realize how corrupt it was until you started meeting with him, started talking to him. The director in Orange County works in a building that looks like the Taj Mahal or the Emerald City. It's green looking, very tall, very rich. You see where the money goes because it's a $1 trillion business every year. My 3 children alone that they took, they traffic in to foster care. They were getting $20,000 per child per month. That was $60,000. So if you had 100 parents, each of them with 3 children, that's $6 million a month that they were going on just 300 children. Right now, it's over 400,000 children are being investigated. The stats are terrible right now. The stats are really awful. Let me see what I have here. I have that here. I got to find it here. Well, I got so many tabs open, it gets lost a lot of times. Just to tell you about some stats right now. In 2022, there was 4.3 million reports of child maltreatment. The most common type of maltreatment is neglect, which affected 74.3% of the victims. Physical abuse affected 17% of the victims. Sexual abuse affected 10.6%, and psychological maltreatment affected 6.8%. In 2022, an estimate of 1,990 children died from abuse and neglect. 66.1% of the families were the children under 3 years of age. More than half, over 1,000 children died that are under 3 years of age from abuse and neglect. So I'm not saying we need to get rid of the child protection system. I'm saying child protection system, wake up and do your job to protect and stop hassling good families. Stop taking the children when they're not in imminent danger. Now, foster care, which is supposed to be where they put children for temporary placement for their well-being if the parents are found not to be fit to take care of the children. It's supposed to be for a temporary thing. It's not supposed to be for adoption. So in 2021, there was 606,000 children were served by foster care system, meaning half of 1 billion children were in foster care. Well, I shouldn't say half. No, 500,000. 500,000. On average, children remain in the state care for over 1.5 years. Now, if you can't tell me how much money that would be, just take 20,000 times 606,000. Wow. I think I'm going to try that, see right now, and see how much money we're talking about. Okay. So that'd be 12 plus 6 is 18 months, right? And 18 months times $20,000 times 606,000. Oops. You know how much that is? $218 billion. I mean, trillion. It's getting close to $1 trillion. Wow. That is a lot of money. I just can't imagine that. Now, prevention and post-responses services in 2021, there was 1,761,128 children receive prevention services, and 1,051,818 receive post-responses services. Now, the child welfare system uses data from the child protection system. So it could be disproportionate. But in the California, just that state alone, California Welfare Association, there's nearly 100,000 children and families in any month. Every month, 100,000 families in California. The estimated average monthly caseloads for various child welfare systems components included 32,000 in-person investigation response to maltreatment allegations in California. So I've just read some stats to you that maybe can sort of tell you that things are not as good as they should be. Now, the kind of social workers you're dealing with aren't very nice. My first example I always talk about is the ladies in pink t-shirts. Now, pink stands for breast awareness. That's the color they use to do the ribbon for breast awareness. But apparently these ladies decided to wear pink t-shirts because they wanted to get the attention of parents. What they did, they stenciled on the front of the t-shirt, professional child kidnappers. Professional child kidnappers. And on the back, they put, do you know where your children are? Do you know where your children are? Now, the message they were sent out when they paraded and walked around Costco and walked around Kmart and Walmart and Target and Best Buys, all the different areas where a lot of parents visit, they were appalled when they saw that message. That's the thinking of social workers. There's 8 female social workers that wore those t-shirts, and that's what they thought about children and parents. They were caught, they were fired, as well as the director. This is at Prescott, Arizona, and Prescott is a town. It's where the movie Billy Jack was filmed. There's Indian tribes in Prescott. And Prescott, is a small town. But those social workers had 25 years experience, and they were fired, as well as the director at Prescott. They left with one social worker to handle, and there's a lot of issues that need to be handled there. So that is your example of one example of the kind of social workers out there. They will lie, they will cheat, and they retaliate. Another social worker in Ohio put on her Facebook page, it said she's a social worker in Ohio. And on her Facebook page, she put an ad. The ad was from 1848. And what it said, and I can't use the N word, but black children for sale. Now that was in 1848. Why she was advertised in the year 2024. Plus, she was a black social worker, a female social worker. When she was asked, she said that she was trying to make a statement that the children are still being sold. Still being sold. It was a wrong kind of ad. It's wrong. The problem with social workers, they're not doing their job. There are a lot of good social workers. I've had social workers on my show, 3 of them. One was Carol from Maryland, who talked about her cases and what she did. She's a clinical psychiatrist. She studied, and she went through 6 months of training with Maryland. And so Carolyn was the example. She talked for 40 minutes, and I appreciate her time talking. So I've had a lot of people talk about the system, and they retaliate. That's something I did not believe, but I have a personal interest in this, because not only do social workers made me sell my home to get an attorney and take my children, they traffic my children, which is illegal. They alienate my children, which is again illegal. But one of my 3 children, my young children, I have 6 children, 3 older, 3 younger. And they took my 3 young children after 5 years of harassment of me. They finally got a detective. They enlisted the police department, detective, to find out my driving patterns and forced me to come home to my house and open the house. Now, I did not know you need a warrant to go in your home. I did not know you can't talk to soldiers. Lots of things I didn't know. I know you cannot enter a home. Your home is your castle. You cannot let anybody in there. You can have representation, and a warrant can let them in there, but there's only several ways that you can. So this social worker that was in front of my case didn't even have a high school education, didn't have much mentoring, and she was entrusted with my family. So here I'm dealing with a social worker who's in her early 20s, and it's 2015. 5 years after dealing with him, so I'm 65 years old. I have a lot of experience, but the social workers show no respect. Anyway, my wife's sister and husband were trying to take our daughter. We did not want that to happen. In fact, the allegations that came against us was by her parents, lay people. Her parents, her mother, father, 3 sisters and brothers, called in once a week for 5 years that we weren't taking care of our children. Always coming with different things, and I had to show social services, these workers that came out, that it was not true. It was really troublesome. It really was troublesome. But this social worker was on the stand, and my attorney, Vincent Davis, was asking her how good of parents are my wife's sister and husband to take care of our daughter. Now, my daughter was 12 at the time. And so the social worker said they're wonderful parents and they do really good to take care of Kirsten. And then he was very crafty. He took out of his briefcase a folder that was a half-inch thick, and there must have been 30 reports in there that there was ongoing investigation of physical domestic violence, not just arguing or yelling, but physical. The two of them had a long rap sheet, long history. So he asked her point blank, "Excuse me, can you explain this domestic report of this date where they came out and they found the two were hitting each other?" So he went report by report. By the time he got to the third report, the social worker was in tears because she lied. She committed perjury, which is a suable offense. If someone commits perjury, you can sue them. Your civil rights, you can sue them. And she committed perjury. And so she stopped. It was stopped with the adoption. And she came by and told us parents, "You're never going to see your daughter again." You know what she did to retaliate? She told our daughter, who was 12 at the time, that because you're age 12 in California, you can emancipate from your parents. So get a divorce from your mom and dad and from your 2 brothers and your grandparents and your aunts and uncles and cousins. You completely divorce your family. You change your name completely. She changed her first, middle, and last name, and she had a beautiful middle name. Beautiful middle name. And then you're supposed to seal your birth certificate so you get a new birth certificate and get a new social security card. And then also be adopted by a foster care family, which she did. So we lost our daughter. There's nothing we could do to stop it because the law at 12 there. I don't know if I could spend more money and stopped it, but it was terrible. I am told that I could do a lawsuit against them, but it will cost me a $50,000 retainer to get an attorney to do that. Anyway, that was sad. It traumatized me and my wife. Now, my daughter is 22. In her late teens, early 20s, she had a falling out with the foster care family that abused her somehow. She won't talk about it. So she's living with our oldest daughter. But we're still not together with my older children as a family because what they heard, they thought was true. So I have 4 children that we're estranged from. An oldest son and 3 daughters. That's 4. And I cannot tell you how much that hurt me. So that's the kind of social workers that you have. They will retaliate. That's firsthand. That isn't a made up story. In California, they can emancipate their parents. I mean, they make their own decisions. So that is the retaliation that the child protection system does. I want you to know about that. It's very, very, very important. Now, I don't understand why we don't have anybody type anything or nobody in the room. I wish our regulars were here so somebody could talk about something, because I know me talking, you get very bored of hearing me over and over and over. And I talk about the same things. We haven't talked about Core Digest. This gives me questions and answers, and we can I can read some of them right now. I can read some of them. Let's see if I got a Corey here. Now, here's one that is something that I think deserves a little bit closer look at. Here's the question that was asked on Core's Digest. The question is asked, what should you do if you're accused of neglect by Child Protection Services and have no one to defend you? Now, this was answered by Emma. And this is what she did. She said she already had her little girl taken from her by CPS when she was only 2 years old due to a phone call made by my mother's and boyfriend. He never liked me, nor I him. So he chose to take my baby girl at any cost. That time it happened so fast. Everything does with CPS do. So I was scared to death and rushed to figure out what to do. There was no way they were taking my daughter from me for lies told by a man I barely knew. I phoned my father. He helped me get an attorney. This attorney was so expensive, but he was supposed to be the best family court attorney in Arizona. I hired him, but I couldn't afford him if not for the help of my father. In the end, after a 2-year-long battle to bring my little girl home, and after proving the lies told to CPS by this man my mother chose to be with her new boyfriend were not true, I still had the most evil judge I've ever met take away my life from me. They took my baby girl forever. That was supposed to be an attorney who never lost a case, but he was a liar and very expensive one at that. Then a year later, we had our son, and I couldn't afford another attorney, so I had to have a court-appointed pro bono attorney appointed to me to help fight for my baby boy. I went through 4 pro bono attorneys, all of which I felt awful representation because I knew what to ask them. And that was one simple question. Do you believe in child protection services? Do you believe the family court system is run in the legal way it should be ran? The 5th pro bono attorney told me, no, I do not believe in any of this. So I hired her. She did a great job. She did so much more work and said so much more to prove the allegations against me false. But the sad part of it is I still lost my son as well as I knew I was going to, but I still tried to push that thought out of my mind and work with a pro bono attorney. I truly believe in her. She did great, like I said, but the judge wouldn't even listen to anything I said. I watched him the entire time, and I was disgusted with everyone in that courtroom, honestly. I live in Arizona. We have one of the worst family court systems and the absolute worst child protection system workers around. This is my advice to you. Hire a really good attorney, one that will fill you in your heart and truly help you get your child back. Then you must record everything that happens to you in court and out of court, such as your visits with your child, interactions with CPS, and so on. Also record always. That'll help you so much if you do lose your child, as most do. These people are evil, and the judges are too. They're in this line of work to make lots of money and send children away to terrible homes and for greed and power. You'll be able to appeal it if you lose, and those recordings you have will save your life because it's very hard to prove CPS wrong without them. They'll falsify the documents, they'll lie at every cost. So if you can prove them wrong, then you'll likely win. I hope this helped you. God bless you and will be in my prayers. Please remember to always record everything. I cannot tell you how important that is. Well, that was well said by that person. And sad because she said that she hired a professional attorney. And since we're talking about attorneys, that's one of my rules that I want to talk about. We have about 8 minutes left. My most important rule is you need to have an attorney to fight CPS. It's like open heart surgery. You're going to get a professional doctor that's gone to medical school, that has an internship. And you're going to get a doctor that knows, has a license and been mentoring and knows how to do open heart surgery. Well, that's what CPS is too. Now, I have an attorney. His name is Vincent W. Davis. He's been fighting CPS for 35 years. He's a pit bull of a fighter. He has gotten children back. But not only that, he is fought them with civil lawsuits and won millions of dollars, both in state and federal courts. So he's the real deal. He is trained and educated in what's called dependency law with juveniles and families. It's very important when you hire an attorney that they know about juvenile family dependency law. Dependency law needs to include juveniles and family. It's all put together. But that's what an attorney needs to be trained. Now, Vincent has 35 years of doing this. He's also a trial attorney. Now, he does civil lawsuits. He'll defend you too. Now, I have a special deal with him right now. And I've been advertising on my screen. If you see that little ticket roll down at the bottom of the screen, you can book a discounted private Zoom consultation with Mr. Vincent W. Davis for up to 30 minutes at a discounted rate that I have worked out with him. It's only $60. He'll talk to you for 30 minutes and explain to you about the ins and outs of CPS, the Child Protection System, and how to hang on to your children, get your children back. It's well worth it to go ahead. Get that special rate. You have to go to https://candidly.com/APPTSVWD/Bob Pace. Now, when you go to that site, use your credit card, pay the $60, and you'll have a Zoom conference meeting with him. Now, this Saturday, he has an hour where he'll have questions and answers on his podcast. If you're a member of the Skool, of Vincent Davis Skool, you can get there for free. Now, to go to his Skool, it's advertised in one of those 7 rooms I was telling you about. You go to https://www.skool.com, and you can register with the Skool and get in that Zoom meeting on Saturday, the podcast, for free. It's all questions and answers. And I shouldn't say it's Zoom, but it's a podcast. And so you should go there. But you can talk to a real attorney, one that is really real. That would be like that girl had mentioned. You need somebody that is fighters. So what I do when I'm looking for attorneys, the first question out of my mouth, first of all, is their background. They need to be a strong attorney in the family juvenile dependency law. Second of all, I ask them, have you ever done a lawsuit, a civil lawsuit, in either state or federal court and won against CPS? If the answer to both those questions is yes, then you got yourself a good attorney. That's the key to success, getting your kids back. Now, if you can't afford an attorney, I know you're going to say, well, I got a court-appointed attorney. They're not going to win your case. They're not going to win your case. They are legal attorneys that just passed the bar exam, but they're not fighters. They also have a caseload of 30 or more clients, so they won't have time for your case. They won't have time for your case. So I'm telling you, you need the real thing. Now, you can also talk to Vincent about his retainer. He works out of Arcadia. He has cases in LA County, Orange County, and San Bernardino County. He has cases up in Northern California and in Oklahoma, state of Oklahoma. So he's all over the place. and he'll work in any state you want. So you can talk about his retainer. And his price will be high because in other states, other places, he needs to be paid for his per diem, which is his hotel, his food, his ground transportation, his air transportation. Those are only extra fees. The fees that he has are pretty much the same, but he is the best to get there. And I cannot stress how important it is to have an attorney, because he will navigate, he will tell you how. And for $60, you can have a Zoom meeting with him, a private Zoom meeting. And for free, or being a member of the school, you can hear him talk on questions and answers this Saturday from 10 to 11. Now, it's going to play when I end the podcast. So I reached my time. I want to first thank all the people that have come to my room and left me the emojis, and thank you. And I also want you to keep trying with your cases. Don't give up. Be respectful of the CPS workers, and do not give up. Do a lot of research on the internet. Keep a lot of records. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time. Good night and God bless. I'm signing off, and you'll listen to a short spiel from Vincent Davis.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.